Hey YouTube, so this is the third tutorial in my HTML5 game development series, and last time we left off in Sublime Text Editor or whatever text file you're using, text editor you're using. And actually, I don't know if you remember, but in my last tutorial I was kind of changing a folder name in here. I guess I should have went over it better, but basically this is just my YouTube folder that I use for my tutorials and stuff, or to keep my raw videos and stuff like that. But this is where I'm going to keep my files for this series. The HTML5 game development folder is what I'm going to be using as my root folder. Now, if you've never heard of a root folder, it's basically where you store all your web page files and all your basically website files to keep it all together, so that, well, for one, they're all together, and for two, that it's just easy to reference them between each other. Okay, so what you have to make sure you have a folder that you can use as your root folder. So basically just create a new folder and name it something that you'll remember, and that's easy. And obviously that makes sense. So first of all, I'm just going to go in here. Now, if you remember, we have three files in here. One is game.js, one is index.html, which you should have got from my minus website profile, but this one should be empty. And this one, actually, we don't need an index template anymore. So basically, if you want, you can just get rid of that. All you really need right now is two files, game.js and index.html. So now that we have that, I'm just gonna close this now, and I guess I'll go over this again. So basically, when you have your text editor, say you're using Sublime like me, go up to File, Open Folder, and then go to that folder that you want to open. So mine is HTML5 game development. Press Open. There we go. Two files. All I have to do is double click them to open them. And it just makes it easier when you're working with multiple files. Okay, so now if you remember, I said we only need one line in here. Some people could do a game with like 100 lines in here. Some people can do it with one line. It all depends on how much you want to do with your JavaScript file, which is the brains of the program, basically. But actually, for this and the way that I usually do it, I'm actually going to use two lines in here. One is going to be a div line, and basically, we're just going to give this. Now, guys, if you don't know what HTML coding is, well, I'm going to go over the basics, the parts that we'll be using. But if you want a good reference or a good place to learn how to do HTML, go to the new Boston, or yes, there's tons of YouTube tutorials on how to do good web development and HTML coding and stuff like that. But anyways, we're going to need a div tag here, and we want an ID of, let's just put inner. That's all we need to put. Inner, we'll reference this inside our JavaScript file. But that's all we need for now. And make sure you have the script thing, and again, make sure game.js matches your JavaScript, the file name of your JavaScript file. Okay, so I think that's all we need for this. Now just save that, and then we'll go back here. Now in our JavaScript file, we need to do a couple things. If you know anything about HTML5 game development and using the canvas is a tag that could usually go in here, and it would look something like this. Basically, you'd have an ID of canvas or something like that. Now, I recommend, well, you could just put an ID of whatever you want, but the further you get into game development, the more you realize sometimes you're going to need more than one canvas to work on. So this canvas will actually be the background canvas. So I'm just going to put canvas BG as the ID. And this is where you could put the canvas tag, but there's other places that you can put it, like inside the JavaScript file. And that's what we're going to do, because basically, okay, if you're making an HTML5 game, you want to put it on a website, basically, and you want to keep that website page as simple as possible. So if I keep it down to two lines like this, that's very simple and very easy to deal with, especially if you want to give this code to some other person so that they can put your game on their website. they could do that, and they only have to put 2 lines on their website, and that's so simple. Pretty much, yeah. Okay, so like I said, we could put the canvas tag in here, but we're not gonna. We are gonna go over. We're gonna save this first. Then we're gonna go over to our JavaScript file. Now, to start off, we need to put the canvas tag into our HTML file, but not like this. We have to do it a different way, kind of. First of all, we need to reference the document, which is document. And next, we need to do get element by ID. And this ID, inner, that's what we're going to be using to reference in for this part. So basically, we need quotes in here, and then the ID was inner. This just means that we're going to be working with this div tag, and you'll see after this inner part, after get element by ID, we need to put a dot, and then inner HTML, and then equals sign. Now, before we do the second part to this, inner HTML, basically what this does, it's like a built-in method that allows you to put HTML code from inside this JavaScript file into the inside of a div file, or I mean a tag. So basically, we called this div tag ID inner, and we're referencing ID inner right here. And basically, we want to put some kind of HTML code, into the inside of this tag. That's why we named it inner. So basically, anything we put in here will be caused because of what we do here. So we need 2 quotes again, and I recommend single quotes because, whoops. Do you see how there's double quotes right here on this ID tag here? If I put double quotes, it would basically unquote this part right here, because there's a quote here, a quote here, and a quote here, and a quote here. Basically, this is not part of it because they're double quotes. So if you use single quotes, you don't have to worry about the double quotes inside, because they go for itself. So yeah, single quotes is probably the better way to go. Now, if you see this, basically all we did was put inner HTML right in here. And actually, I think we forgot a step. Well, we didn't forget one, but before this line, before this line, we actually need one more. We need, I gotta think about how I'm gonna do this. Okay, sorry about that, guys. Okay, so I actually forgot a little step in here. I had to think about it, how to do it the best. There's a couple different ways, but we're gonna do it the simplest way. Okay, so first of all, if you take a look, first of all, we need to open our index.html in a web browser so we know what it looks like so far. And if you go to Reveal in Finder, or somehow just open that folder or that file, double click on it, and it'll open up in your browser. And basically, this is what it looks like so far. It looks like a dark background because this over here, body style background, 30-30-30, that's the hex color code, I think it is, for dark gray or something like that. It's a dark gray, that's why, yeah. Anyways, this is what it looks like so far. And so far, if you guys didn't know, Google Chrome is probably the way to go. Also because all you have to do to look at what a web page is really showing like, all you do is right click, inspect element, and then if you look over here in the elements tab, basically it shows you what the web page looks like exactly. So as you can see, we have doc type, HTML lang, our head area, body, background, 30-30-30, DVD inner. Now if you guys remember, DVD inner is this thing right here. But as you can see, we have nothing in it right now. This JavaScript, one second. Why is it doing that? Oh, that's why. Okay, actually, we don't even need the certain part that I'm doing, but you're going to want it anyways. Basically, this... okay, let's just pretend that canvas thing isn't there, but it is. I guess it is. So basically, this thing right here, we put the inner HTML of this into this, the inside of that div tag, and we open up this, and it's showing in the HTML file what it really looks like on the screen. So this is what it would look like if we wrote it out in here, but this is what it looks like after the JavaScript is loaded. And because this is here because the JavaScript file is inside the web page. So basically, this is getting written here no matter what. No matter, because it loads with the web page. But what I want to do, and what we should do, is much better. First of all, we want to create a function or a method by saying function, and we want to call it init. And init stands for initialize. Basically, initialize means how do you want it to start off? What's the first thing you want to do to initialize? So basically, we want to make a function like that, and we made that because we have to call that function when the page loads. So instead of it loading automatically, we will load it when window.add event listener. Listener. Okay, basically you need this line up here to, basically we're adding an event listener or some type of event to the window object. Basically we're going to add an event that says when the page is loaded, call init the function. And then this false part, just make sure you put false there. You need 3 parts. You need load here, the name of this function, and then false here. False, I'm not even sure why it's supposed to be there, but it should be there, so just keep it there. I'm sure you guys can look up why it's supposed to be there or why not, but okay, so we need that. And then basically this will do the exact same thing, but it will load a bunch of things instead of just this thing. Well, for right now, it's just going to load this thing when the window has loaded fully. So if we go back in here, look, it's still in there. That's perfect. That's just what we need. Just to test this to make sure it works even further, alert. Basically, if you want to test something, I usually use an alert thing to make a little pop-up just to know when something has happened. So init has been called. And this is a little hello, thanks for trying out Sublime. Yeah, no. Okay, now when we reload this, we should get a pop-up. And it has been called. Perfect. So we know that this method is getting called, which we already knew, just testing. Okay, so that's the basics for this, guys. And as you can see, we have a canvas tag in here now. Now, we have to set a couple more things quickly. We're going to set the width. Now, this is just like we're working with an HTML code right in here. Because it's the inner HTML, we're putting this code into our website in between these tags here. So basically, it's just like working with HTML. So width, we want to set the width of our game. Let's go 800 pixels. And the height of our game to, let's go 500 pixels. And then let's also set some style. Now, you guys, if you know CSS, you can set the style in line inside the tag, just like this. So style, tag, background. We're going to make the background color. What do we want? We want white. FFF. One too many Fs. Okay. Background white. Now, once you see this, you will understand what a canvas kind of is more. Let's just get rid of this. Now, refresh. Look at this. This is our whole website page, but this is our canvas. This white rectangle is our canvas. This is what we're going to be working with. This is the area we're going to be working in. Now, just to make it a little more pretty, we're going to take the margin and we're going to set to 0 and auto. This will just center. Actually, we're going to put, let's put 200, no, 100, not 2000, 100 pixels, auto, 0. Now, guys, if you have any questions about this, just leave a comment. I'm sure some of you guys can help each other out, but I'll also try and help each other out too. So basically, this will set the margin top to 100, The margin left and right will be auto, and the margin bottom will be 0, which is totally fine. Now if we refresh, hello, it's not working. Why? I think we might need a width for this. Width. Let's go 1,000 pixels. Still not. Okay, I'll be right back. Alright guys, I kind of forgot one little thing. We need another little style thing in here to make this tag, the canvas tag, a block element. It's not blocked by default. It's probably something like inline. So basically, all we have to do is put display block. Now, it may look kind of confusing to you guys when you're trying to code HTML inside of a JavaScript file because everything is yellow when you're using Sublime, at least. Everything's one color. You could originally do all of your HTML inside this area, and then when you're done the game or whatever, you can eventually just put it all together inside and in your HTML. I guess I'm doing this kind of backwards, but it's totally fine to do it in here if you want. Whatever fits you better, I guess. But yeah, you could just take this, basically, and put it right there. And you wouldn't even need this line anymore. But to keep things simple in a way, let's just undo this. Whoops. Let's go back here. Undo. There we go. Back to normal. Display block. Good. Now, as you can see, it's centered. Left and right are exactly equal, and this is 100 pixels from the top. Okay, guys. This, like I said, this is our canvas. This is where we're going to be working with. This is where we're going to be making our game inside of. So, yep. Thanks for watching, guys. Stay tuned for number 4, I think it is.